All the world was dark. Osali the coyote man and Petali the lizard man were the first people. They tried to make Indian people, each like himself. Osali said he was going to make man just like himself. Petali said that would be absurd. How can man eat or take hold of anything if he has no fingers? So they quarreled, and Osali tried to kill Petali, but Petali slid into a crack in a rock where Osali could not reach him. There they talked and argued for a long time. After a while, Petali won the argument, and when they made people, they gave them 5 fingers. The world was dark, and everyone wanted light and fire. By and by, Petali the lizard said, "I see smoke down in the valley. Who will go and get it?" Lului the white mouse runs fast, and he plays the flute well. He had better go. So Lului went with his flute and found the home of the valley people. He played for them. They liked his music very much. They gave a big feast, and they asked him to come into the roundhouse and play so that everyone might hear his music. When all the people had assembled, and Lului the mouse was there with his flute, Captain Wapayaga took the big feather blanket called kusil, made of feathers of Miwok the condor, and closed the doorway with it and made it very tight, for he had a feeling that Lului might try to steal something and run off with it. Then Lului took his flute and began to play. He lay on his back and he rocked to and fro and played for a long time. Everyone liked the music and felt very happy. In a little while they all became sleepy. Soon Lului looked around and saw that they were all asleep. But he kept on playing till everybody was sound asleep. Then he got up and he went to the fire and he stole it all, 2 small coals, and he put them in his flute, and he started to run away. But he could not get out of the roundhouse because of the thick feather blanket which Wapayaga had hung over the doorway. So he stopped and he cut a hole through it with his teeth, and then he ran out and hurried to the mountains. After a while the people awoke and they found that the fire was gone. They were sure that Lului the mouse had stolen it, and they said, "Whom can we send who is fast enough to overtake him? Of all our people, only Salwini the hail and Nuka the shower are fast enough." So they sent these 2 to catch him. They rushed off towards the mountains and overtook him. He saw them coming, and he put 1 coal in the unu tree, buckeye tree, and threw the other in the water. When Salwini and Nuka caught him, they could not find the coals. He told them to go ahead and search him. He had nothing on him. They looked and they found nothing, and they went back and told the valley people. Then Lului took the coal from the unu tree and put it back in his flute, and he ran up to the mountains with it and gave it to his people, and they put it in the middle of the roundhouse. Before this, their country was very dark, and they had always eaten their food raw. Now they could see and they could cook meat. Then Osali the coyote man brought the intestines of a deer and put them on the fire, covering it up and nearly putting it out. Because of his selfishness in doing this, the people changed his name from Osali to Katwa, greedy, which they still call him to this day. Then the people felt cold, and only those in the middle of the roundhouse could talk as they had talked before. Those around the sides were so cold that their teeth chattered, and they could not talk plainly. They separated into 4 groups on the 4 sides of the house, 1 on the north, 1 on the south, 1 on the east, and 1 on the west. And each group began to speak differently from the others, and also differently from the one in the middle. And this is the way the speech of the people began to break up into 5 languages. And this is the way the 5 tribes began. The people were driven apart by the selfishness of Coyote.